cardinals begin the process of electing a new pope on Wednesday, locking themselves away in the Vatican's Sistine Chapel until a decision is reached. This ritual, steeped in history, follows a public mass in St. Peter's Basilica. Cardinals then convene in a secret conclave to choose a successor to Pope Francis, who died last month. The election process is expected to last several days, as no pope has been elected on the first day of a conclave for centuries. There will be only one ballot on Wednesday, with up to 4 votes per day thereafter. Cardinals will burn their ballots, with black smoke marking an inconclusive vote and white smoke and bells signaling that the 1.4 billion member church has a new leader. At a mass before entering the conclave, cardinals prayed for guidance in selecting a pope who would exercise watchful care over the world. In recent days, cardinals have offered different assessments of what they're looking for in the next pope. Some desire continuity with Francis's reforms, others favor tradition, and many prefer predictable leadership. A record 133 cardinals from 70 countries will participate, up from 115 from 48 nations in the last conclave in 2013. No clear favorite has emerged, although Italian Cardinal Pietro Parolin and Filipino Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle are considered frontrunners. As in medieval times, the conclave will be strictly private. The Vatican has taken high-tech measures to ensure secrecy, including jamming devices to prevent any eavesdropping. The average length of the last 10 conclaves was just over 3 days, with none exceeding 5 days. The 2013 conclave lasted just 2 days. The cardinals will aim to wrap things up quickly again this time to avoid giving the impression that they are divided or that the church is adrift.
India attacked Pakistan and Pakistani Kashmir Wednesday in some of the worst fighting between the nuclear-armed neighbors in over 2 decades. Shelling was reported across the Kashmir border in the early hours. Officials on both sides have reported deaths. It comes in the wake of an attack on the Indian side of Kashmir by Islamist assailants that killed 26 Hindu tourists last month. India said Pakistan-based militants were responsible, but Pakistan denied involvement. On Wednesday, New Delhi claimed it struck 9 Pakistani sites it called terrorist infrastructure used for planning and directing attacks against India. An Indian defense source said they targeted headquarters of Islamist militant groups Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba. In Pakistan-administered Kashmir, locals in Muzaffarabad awoke to sounds of heavy munitions pounding the city.
Suddenly, shelling started. I think 10 to 15 missiles hit here. We had a big mosque here where our elders, young children, and students used to come here to pray and study in madrasa. It has been destroyed in front of you. In the night, the entire neighborhood was in fear and panic, and the entire population fled from here and there. We strongly condemn this cowardly attack by India.
Indians living near the Pakistani border applauded the strikes.
Indian Army!
The Pakistani Foreign Ministry called India's actions an unprovoked and blatant act of war. It said Indian fighter jets, quote, violated Pakistan's sovereignty using standoff weapons targeting civilian population. Flight radar showed planes going to and coming from India while avoiding Pakistan's airspace in the early hours of Wednesday. Targeted strikes are extremely rare between India and Pakistan. However, India has conducted bombing raids and assaults on Pakistan in 2019 and 2016. In retaliation for the deaths of Indian paramilitary police or soldiers.
We do not accept a proposal and a plan that does not live up to the core fundamental humanitarian principles of impartiality, neutrality, and independent delivery of aid. And what they were presented with appears designed to further control and restrict supplies, which is the opposite of what is needed. It appears to be a deliberate attempt to weaponize the aid. And we have warned against that for a very long time. that aid should be provided based on humanitarian need to whomever needs it, targeting those who need it most first, and not be used as in any way as a tactic to move people to any particular place or to convince people to do this, that, or the other. It is to cover their basic life-saving needs.
Germany's Conservative leader Friedrich Merz was elected Chancellor by Parliament on Tuesday in a second round of voting. That was after he unexpectedly failed to gain the majority in his first attempt earlier in the day. This initial defeat marked a surprise setback for his new coalition with the centre-left Social Democrats, and a blow for a man who has promised to revive economic growth at a time of global turbulence.
Frau Präsidentin, ich bedanke mich.
Merz needed 316 votes in the 630-seat Bundestag, and in the second round of voting received 325. That was after only securing 310 in the previous ballot. Merz's Conservatives won national elections in February with 28.5% of the vote, but the party needed at least one partner to form a majority government. On Monday, they signed a coalition deal with the Social Democrats, who won just 16.4%. It marked their worst result in German post-war history.
Rudi Mohammed is standing in line at a voter registration center in Mogadishu. The 70-year-old is among the many citizens registering for upcoming local government elections.
My last time to vote was during the first president of Somalia, Aden Adde. For me, it is happiness and dance, and I will be happier if I get to participate this time round. It is happiness for me to be a registered voter in our country. We are now ready.
It's a rare political shift in Somalia and breaks away from the long-standing practice of leaders being chosen by clan elders. Elder Mohammed Hassan Had says the shift is a welcome change. He describes how lawmakers were previously chosen through a combination of conference politics and clan elder selections, with wealthy or well-connected candidates often securing positions. He says it is a dignity for the country when the public can vote for the candidate they like and reject the one they don't. But the process faces challenges. Election officials have been taken aback by the overwhelming public interest, leading to overcrowding at registration centers. And an opposition lawmaker has also raised concerns, warning against disruptions to the process or changes to the constitution without consensus.
Standing in front of a towering column of smoke in Port Sudan, Army Chief General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan has vowed retribution. Drone strikes have pounded Sudan's wartime capital for days, opening a new front in the conflict between Burhan's armed forces and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. On Wednesday, the army said its anti-aircraft systems had intercepted drones targeting the country's largest naval base in Port Sudan. Explosions were heard in the city, though it was not immediately clear if they were near the base. Port Sudan had enjoyed relative calm since the civil war erupted more than 2 years ago. It has become a hub for diplomats, UN officials and agencies, and is Sudan's key gateway for humanitarian aid. It's also a base for the army-aligned government after the RSF seized much of the capital Khartoum early in the conflict, as well as a refuge for hundreds of thousands of displaced people. In Port Sudan on Tuesday, resident Awadallah Dawood Kafi said the will of the people would not be broken, as he blamed foreign countries for supporting rebel militias. On the same day, Sudan's army-affiliated Defense Council said it was cutting ties with the United Arab Emirates, amid accusations of support for the RSF. Defense Minister Yassin Ibrahim said the UAE had been designated as a hostile state and that it had funded the RSF. The UAE denies backing the paramilitary group. On Monday, the International Court of Justice said it could not rule in a case brought by Sudan's government accusing the UAE of fueling genocide. Despite that ruling, some UN experts have found Sudan's allegations of UAE support for the RSF to be credible and continue to investigate.
I will accept their word, and we are going to stop the bombing of the Houthis. U.S. President Donald Trump on Tuesday announced the U.S. will stop bombing the Houthis in Yemen, saying the Iran-aligned group had agreed to stop interrupting important shipping lanes in the Middle East. The U.S. intensified strikes on the Houthis this year to stop attacks on Red Sea shipping. Trump spoke to reporters on the subject during an Oval Office meeting with the Canadian Prime Minister.
No, it's not a deal. They've said, please don't bomb us anymore, and we're not going to attack your ships.
After Trump's announcement, the country of Oman said it had mediated a ceasefire deal between Yemen's Houthis and the U.S. A Houthi senior official later said the group would, however, continue their attacks to support Gaza and asked Israelis to stay in shelters, indicating that the ceasefire with the U.S. did not include a halt of the group's attacks on Israel. The Houthis have been firing at Israel and at shipping in the Red Sea since Israel began its military offensive against Hamas in Gaza after the Palestinian militant group's deadly attack on Israel on October 7, 2023.